What actually draws people to your practice? Is it what you say or how you make them feel? Hi there, I'm Greg Venning. Welcome to the Questing Chiropractor, the podcast that helps you run a practice that is purpose driven and stirs your soul, that has systems that set you free so structure creates ease, where you can change the world one person at a time with each adjustment visit, and you can enjoy the profits that come with that. And today we have a powerful episode with Nimrod and Dorte Bladt. Now, we're going to go through why chiropractors are trained to communicate clearly and explain well and educate deeply. But what if the thing that's really building trust isn't this explanation, but the experience? In this conversation, they're going to explore what sits underneath great chiropractic care: purpose, presence, connection, and the responsibility we carry, not just to adjust, but to create environments where people feel safe, seen, and supported. They're going to go through pediatric or chiropractic care for babies, communication, why chiropractic shouldn't be positioned as just a treatment model, and the danger of reducing care to symptoms instead of removing interference, the challenges of reaching modern audiences, and why so many chiropractors feel disconnected from each other, and what to do to build your tribe. Because this isn't just about what we do as chiropractors, it's about how we show up and the impact that creates. Listen on. Welcome to the Questing Chiropractor podcast. We help you grow as visionary, vital, and capable chiropractors who are always on. We do things differently as we help to elegantly awaken your innate wisdom within. We help you create robust, predictable, and trustworthy practices that serve oceans of people and yet still have free time for yourselves and your families. We use neuroscience to deliver better business results so that you can get greater, deeper, and more effective impact in more ways. We are Questing Chiropractors, and this is our story.
Well, thank you for being here. I am extremely excited and honored to have this conversation with someone who is a chiropractor that I deeply respect for who she is, for what she does, and the impact she has, and also honored to call her my friend. So thank you for being here, Dorte.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being on here. It's going to be fun.
Yes, absolutely. I guess I really want to jump in the deep end with you, which is to say that you're someone who is a go-getter, someone who loves to be action-oriented and to create impact in our profession and for our world in a way that really leaves a legacy. So in terms of doing that, I guess my question for you first is, how did you go about determining your intent, your purpose, really what matters to you with chiropractic and what you'd love to achieve with it?
I think it was manifold. Having, I think I've always thought that I would do something with children. So even before I became a chiropractor, as a young person, I was, babysitting other people's children and loved playing with the neighbors' kids, and so been interested in the kids side of things, and actually started my chiropractic degree because I naively thought that the practice I had observed, that was how all chiropractors worked, and that was one that was focusing on children. I can maybe say, you say action oriented. I don't always maybe do all my research. I just get a little bit excited and I jumped at that one and realized once I joined Parma that they didn't talk very much about kids. So I was a bit disappointed in that. I think though, having a child that then did not act or wasn't as healthy as I had thought my chiropractic input should have resulted in. Chiropractic lifestyle pregnancy, chiropractic lifestyle birth, and being adjusted from birth. And my daughter still had issues with lots of different things. And I then, I guess, recognized how important it is that we don't just think that what we have learned at university is enough enough tools to deal with more complicated issues. So that sort of refined my passion, because it was really important for me to help my daughter. And then finally, actually joining up with Quest, since we're now talking Quest, and talking to Mark Postles over endless and endless and endless and endless and endless weeks of what is your purpose, Dorte?
Yeah.
And I don't think you've refined it well enough. Sorry, Mark, if you listen to this. I think this is a conversation many of us who are, I'm not a Christie at the moment, but I have been for many, 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 many years. And Mark made me refine into words what I felt my purpose in life was, and still is, which is making sure that, well, that I would like to see every child being checked at birth by a chiropractor, and not necessarily adjusted if they don't need it, but having the opportunity to live a life free of nervous system interference. That's my purpose.
Yeah, it's such a huge purpose, and it's such an amazing opportunity to change the trajectory of the future of humanity right there.
Yes, right there.
Yeah, yeah, so important. Do you think that so you've done a lot in your own practice and having associates, and also creating the Kids Summit, raising funds for research into looking into kids and chiropractic, and you've taken that around the world. You've done a huge amount, and by no means are you done. Do you think that there's more chiropractors more aware of the importance of that now through the last decade or so that you've been doing that?
It's always hard to measure, isn't it? Because I'm in the soup I'm sitting in. But my sense is that there's so many more chiropractors that are specializing in children, and there are so many more chiropractors that are doing family care, and that just warms my heart. What I sometimes feel, though, is that we might be taking it a little bit into the extreme of pediatric care. And that is something that I feel we should work very hard to avoid. We are not a treatment for anything. We're not a treatment for disease. We're not a treatment for colic or learning difficulties. And I admit that that's what I put on my website, that's what we're going to look at, and that's what I talk from stage. But when we look at our jobs as chiropractors is to remove interference, we shouldn't really limit ourselves to a symptomatic presentation. We shouldn't try, I feel, we should not try to market to other healthcare professionals or parents as a treatment for anything, because we're painting ourselves into a corner. And the corner that I think we're sitting in right now is one that we deserve to be in, because we pushed really hard to say, you know what, we're really good at treating colic, but we're not. We don't. And the double-blind randomized controlled trials show us so black and white that that's not what we do. We remove interference, and that little one will heal in whichever, heal or not heal, but do what they need to do. So
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm talking sideways as I always do. Sorry.
No, I love it. So what do you think is the danger of painting ourselves into this corner?
Well, if we're painting ourselves into a corner where we are trying to compete with a treatment, we can't get out of it, because we're not. I mean, I think the research is pretty clear. The Safer Care Victoria review. I mean, we don't have a lot of research, but whatever research we have shows that we do not, from a manipulation point of view, remove enough interference to a nervous system to clear colic. However, when I speak to chiropractors, we see lots. I'm just taking colic as an example, but I see lots and lots of chiros that say, I don't understand. I do not understand, because in my practice, my observation is that the children that I see, and I've definitely experienced that myself, they respond very, very well. But chiropractic is more than manipulation or adjustment, whichever word you would like to use here. We are rapport, connection, trust, interaction, communication, making parents feel heard and seen, and safe and secure. And in many cases, depending on the type of chiropractor there's some advice that goes with, you can do probiotics, or make sure that you don't wake them up through the day. Because, the more you upset their sleep schedule in the day, the worse they sleep at night. All the little things that we often will impart with as a wisdom of human interaction. And I think that is an important part of the work that we do. Call that placebo or not, it works really well.
Yeah, yeah. So you've touched on some things that I'd love to go on different tangents on with you.
Sorry.
I guess starting with the connection that you have with other chiropractors, the doing and acting and achieving. How, and your sense is that there are more chiropractors who are waking up to the importance of checking kids as early as possible and the impact that has. When you step back and you ask, in terms of the professional chiropractic and where it's going, and especially the connection with other chiropractors, chiropractor to chiropractor, and if you were to ask, what's going on here? What are chiropractors wanting? Where am I feeling that connection working well or not, and being energized or not? What's your take on not on the profession, but on the individual chiropractors and who we are?
Yeah. What I observe with running my Swiss on Kids seminars, and going to events around the world, UCA and the Kids Summit, and what I experience is that there is a very, very strong connection and need for being with your tribe. And the sense and the feedback that I get from events like that is always, that was incredible. So nice to meet people who think like me. And it was like, you can get home and take your shoes off. It was that sort of relaxed feeling of, this is just so good. And then because I also run my coaching program, which is more online, and I find that there are lots of people contacting me that are maybe sitting more at home and they're trying to do their learning online. They're a little bit more isolated, and they don't necessarily have the same sense of a united purpose. It seems to be more almost like and I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but maybe a little bit more like ticking a box. I need some information, I can get the information, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it becomes a lifestyle and a passion if you share that spirit with other people, other chiropractors.
Yeah. In Quest, we very much say, there's the transactional side of things where you can just learn tactics, and, you can basically do a course or read a book or whatever it is, listen to a podcast. But there's the relational. There's the bit where, that energy, that passion, that shared space, the shared meaning and values is actually important.
And I think we connect at almost like a spiritual level. It's like you feed on other people's energy, and you get so inspired and excited, and there's so much, and that's what I feel like. That's what you want to bring home. That's what you want to bring into your practice. That's what people get attracted to. It's a very positive vibration that other people can go with.
Yeah, it's resounding. And so, you bring up maybe what's a little bit generational as well, right? We've seen newer chiropractors who may not have attended many live events, who may have completed their studies during COVID, and so didn't get as much exposure to others professional chiropractors or other students or the people they're caring for in the student clinic. There seems to be, I'm noticing that there seems to be challenges for us older chiropractors to know how to create this relationship in a warm, passionate, inspiring way. Are you noticing that as well?
Very much so. And you and I have discussed that quite a lot. And I think because deep inside me, and I'm sure inside of you, is that a need for connection for me, but also like some questioning as to how can I impart my wisdom and knowledge in a way that is suitable for the younger generation. Because I don't want to, I realize that I can't, press my model over their heads. But my sense is that somewhere in the middle might be really good, where there is a bit more, rather than it being transactional and give me how I adjust this or what I do for that. If we can meet somewhere where we can maybe share a little bit of that energy as well, but I guess I'm not quite sure how to engage in a way with the younger people who are like that, because I feel very much that I am who I am, and I might have to leave the floor and let someone younger take over and do the teaching if people are not so keen on doing the face-to-face stuff.
Yeah. So you say, I am who I am. I think of you as someone highly adaptable and flexible, and pushing yourself towards different growth edges as you meet these different demands in our profession and in our in the world at large, in humanity. If you were to step back and look at, some pain points on your growth edge, some bits where you do struggle to maybe, work through a point of growth or generation or adaptability and flexibility, what would you say they are for you?
Are you talking on a human scale, as in the people I see in my practice, or are you talking about younger chiropractors?
Yes to all. It's
Okay, yes
all
to
one
all.
and the same, isn't it? It's the
Well,
inside out approach.
no, it isn't. It isn't, because in my practice, and when I go and do talks for mums, um, I can access the way of communicating and my excitement in a personal space, right? I mean, obviously, I can't bounce, but
Yeah.
I can be sensibly feeling where they're at and communicating face to face. And I feel that works really, really well. The challenge is to get the people. The challenge for me is to meet the people face to face, where I can feel their energy, so I can interact with them in that way. So being, I mean, the pain point would be doing, the social media, like how the heck do I reach you? I find social media less enjoyable than so many other things in my life. And I struggle to find an angle that people might find interesting, where I can then get access to their way of thinking, and that's so I can understand them. I would really like to know what I can do, but that's my pain point. I'm not quite sure.
Would you say that's then the same with this younger generation, that it's almost like how do we translate our way of communicating into a way that's impactful and effective for them?
Yes, if I'm the center, but if I step out of the center and just being part of the circle,
Yeah.
then it's it's a totally different communication, isn't it?
Right.
How do our little rings of connection, how can we get them to overlap? And yes, like you're saying, if yes, it's all about me and the older generation, and but I that's why I'm saying, I think what I personally need to do is probably start working with someone that is younger and let them take over and communicate, bring the message to their friends from their angle,
Yeah.
rather than me trying to do it from my angle.
Right. Yeah. Let them be the communication expert who
Yeah.
beautifully takes the message and expands it out. And
Yes.
so coming back to your practice, because we do, we're talking to listeners who also have a practice and probably have associates and similar experiences. When you look at your desire to help families locally, and kids growing up healthy. And one of the challenges you just mentioned is reaching those people through social media. What would you say are some things that you've done or seen that actually stay true to our message and yet are quite impactful, or maybe terribly unimpactful in terms of
Yeah.
reaching your local community?
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
I would definitely say I'm not particularly successful in the social media space, and I it is not something I choose to do if I can help it. What I get feedback on, though, and for people that come in, it's actually really interesting. They connect with images. They don't necessarily connect with what I say, and they don't necessarily connect with any particular message, but it is an image of calm, serene, safe. That's what moms often tell me. It's like, I looked at the other people's site and it looked a bit, but the images were so cool and calm that I actually felt that was a safe space to bring my baby. And when I think of that, it is just important for us to remember that we have so much knowledge and so much to share. Then we sometimes get caught in our own net of information. I think we sometimes overpower people a little bit when what they actually really want is just a space where they can breathe and trust.
Yeah. And again, translating this to a Quest model, would you say that that's reflective of your core values? Safe, calm, trusting.
From a professional point of view, absolutely, and also just with what's been going on over the last too many years, it is important. I had somebody say it as late as this morning. It's like that whole thing of I want to bring my sister, but she watched on TikTok, and it's like, well, hang on a minute, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
And so yes, it is definitely a core value that it's a safe place where people can hopefully trust me and I trust them.
About that TikTok comment, have you found a nice way to bridge that? Or is that I find in practice sometimes it feels like a mountain too big to climb and I just drop it. What do you find?
The only I actually have never been on TikTok. I don't know what's
Oh
on
no,
there
neither
other
have
than
I. I'm just talking about the comment. When someone says, "I saw that's how chiropractors throw you over a barrel and pull this strap that yanks your head off."
Yeah. No, mainly the only thing I say is whatever you've seen, I'm not going to do that. So so it's particularly younger people bringing younger children in. It's like I'm not gonna crack them. I'm not gonna throw them over a barrel and pull them with a strap. So this is very gentle. I just go into the conversation of checking the avocado or the tomato and the pressure that we're using. That is very gentle, and I think in this space I can say safe. Go be careful with the words.
Absolutely. I will 100% back you on. It is safe. Those avocados never get hurt.
They don't even get bruised.
No. And do you find, would you say generally in your experience that is enough to close the gap, and then those people who are fearful do come in?
As a rule, yes. They're obviously, I mean, the ones who don't come in, I don't know. The ones who are in my practice, they all seem, are you okay with that? They all say yes. And my return rate is, I don't know, 90 many. I don't, I can think of one person that didn't come back after their report of finding, but other than that, in the last, I don't know how many months or years, they all come back. So I would have to say the message must get across. That's not to say that they stay on forever like I want them to, but at least they don't get scared away after the first adjustment.
Yeah. You're just phenomenal, Dorte. So in terms of expanding the reach in your local community, we talked about social media and TikTok and avocados. What about associates? What's a pain point there? What's what's an inspirational point of growth, and then what's something that you're struggling with there?
I think my main struggle point is time. Everyone is so busy, me and my two lovely associates, and it's the whole priority that they have two young, both of them have a child each, so we're young children. So it's that whole priority of what do I want? How do I want it? How does it need to be presented? When am I willing to give up the time? And I find that with the sort of model that we run, where it's very much they are independent contractors. I don't want to, I can't say this is when we're doing what. I'm going to say I'm available here, and I will do whatever you want. But to actually get them to commit to the time and what they do want is a little bit harder. A huge plus is the love and the care and the professionalism and the commitment that they show to the people that they serve. And when I'm away, how well they take care of my people. I love them both dearly. And yes, things can always be better, and it is very much my fault because okay, well, I'm available here. If you're available, let's do it. If not, it's hard.
Yeah. Do you think, that's a very gentle approach. Do you think that mixing that with something a little bit more firm and directive in a loving, supportive way would be useful?
I think it would be useful, yes, but that has to have been communicated at the start. And when we first started with the one of them, we went through the whole mentoring program, my little mentoring program. This is what we need to know. This is how we're going to do it. We did all that. With number two, someone, she stepped into my shoes when I went overseas. And I feel I was away for whatever, 6 or 7 months. And I lost the right to come back and say, this is what I want.
Right.
I should have, I feel from a respect point of view, I needed to have done that when we started.
Yeah. So clarifying expectations and making sure those agreements are upheld along the way in both directions. It's a dynamic conversation. It's relational.
And that being said, the second associate was very capable. Did not necessarily need a lot of hands-on mentoring, but from a procedural point of view and a commitment point of view, yes, that would have been very sensible.
Yeah. So I want to zoom out a little bit. You mentioned that each of them has a child, and maybe just touching on that briefly. Something I've been quite concerned about, really, my whole career as a chiropractor is the struggle that some women have to continue being a practicing chiropractor or to come back into the profession, and it's such a loss for various reasons. Have you got some thoughts on how we could move towards solving that as a profession?
I feel I'm going to zoom out even further. I feel very strongly that it would be from a societal point of view, be really sensible if we have parental leave, meaning mom and dad both have time off. I recognize that dad can't breastfeed, but if the challenge of taking time off is equal for both genders, then there is less bias when you choose an associate or if you choose a person that's working for you. That is a serious zoom out. So, but coming in, I think it is hard being the main carer for a little one, breastfeeding, organizing, homemade organic purees, and that there's washing all the reusable nappies. Chiropractors have very, very high standards of what raising a child looks like, and it is very time consuming. So I think what we need to do is get better at having maybe more associates available, and now I'm going back to the female mom, let her do as much or as little as she can get away with. It is challenging. It just is. Way back when I had little ones, my husband and I worked opposite shifts. So he's a chiropractor as well, but it worked beautifully because there was always someone with the children. Now that wasn't when they were breastfed. That was when, from probably about 1, and I would work a shift. They can easily go 4 hours, and that worked well.
Yeah.
But that is not the way many practices are set up these days, and it's not the way many work situations are set up where you're working 8-9 hours a day. That's a nightmare.
Yeah. Plus, if we do move to the model of where associates are contracted, then they need the financial ability to be able to take that parental leave. That's tricky, and a lot of younger associates are certainly not set up for that. Even more experienced chiropractors often don't have much money in the bank. It's difficult. Yeah. And the solution that you suggested, where you and your husband were working opposite shifts, fantastic that there's always a parent with a child, but it wouldn't have been easy for the two of you relating to each other, since you probably never saw much of each other.
It was lunchtime though. I had 2 hours off for lunch.
Yeah.
But no,
one of you was
right.
sleeping probably.
but somehow, this is my experience. The parental health and parental relationship takes second best. It is making sure that the kid is taken care of. In a loving, caring way.
Yeah. What we really need is a community, a tribe that all comes together.
Yes, we do.
For good support.
We need the village. Yeah.
Speaking of the village, you are now one of the key tribal members for your brand new granddaughter.
Yes.
So how has this changed your focus on where you are in life and what this all means?
It is interesting. It's actually beforehand. I have taken 6 months, not 6 months off work, but 6 months off. I've no talks, no anything, because I want to be available for my granddaughter. And realizing suddenly that listen to this. Shh, don't tell anyone. But my daughter and her partner, they are so capable. They are so amazing. They're so they actually don't need me. So from that point of view, it's like, okay. That I have felt that I was valuable for the first, she's only, 6 weeks. The first month, all those first things was really useful. In and out of the car, in and out of the bath, all those sorts of things. Not that they could have, of course, they could have figured it out themselves. But I think as an older person, well, this actually really works. And remember, I'm a chiropractor, so you could do it this way. But I actually feel that the spiritual experience of being at my granddaughter's birth and the absolute miracle it has just reignited the importance of getting out there and letting everyone know that chiropractors are amazing at allowing a little one to thrive and removing interference. We need to get there. I mean, ideally they should be adjusted within the first 24, 48 hours. That would be so amazing. So that's how I'm going to run with that one.
Yeah, beautiful. And so just on that last point, and we're circling back to the beginning where you say bubs should be checked pretty much at birth, because it's going to put them on a different trajectory for the rest of their life. You're so passionate and on purpose about this message and getting this out to chiropractors. Has the birth of your grandchild invigorated this message in a different way?
No, not in a different way. Just more urgent, I think. It's just that we need to get better at communicating with our communities about the importance of this, and work so hard at getting that whole stigma of what has been pushed upon us over these last 15 years, or I can't even remember when all this started. We need to get better at communicating how good we are.
130 years.
Yeah, but don't you feel in the last, when
Yeah.
was the first one? 2011? I can't remember.
Yeah, so this is for the context of our international listeners, Dorte's relating to the shitstorm about chiropractors seeing kids in Australia and the impact that has had in various waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and so,
okay, 130 years. Yep.
yeah, no, it's really heated up recently. And so I guess, coming around to the last point that I'd love to explore with you, there's been some very recent pressures on our profession, being able to see kids. And that's had an effect into the wider community and the messaging that they may receive. So you just did mention that we need to be better at getting the message out there. If you were to speak to a first-time pregnant woman, what would be your shortest message that would help her open her eyes to the importance of having a chiropractor check her bub? If not, obviously not check herself during pregnancy, but if not doing that, then what would be the way to really inspire her to bring her kid to a chiropractor as soon as possible?
I don't know if there is a short way to do that, because often as you're seeing these people through their pregnancy, I mean, you can drip feed, but I guess the most important short message would be that the birth process is, a miracle, but it's hard on both mom and bub. Whether they're going through the birth canal or whether they are born by cesarean, there is likely to be some stresses and some strains at the junction between the head and the neck, and a little assessment would be, saving them lots of trouble in the future if they bring the baby in for a little complimentary assessment in my practice. All pregnant moms get a complimentary assessment of their little one, and they don't have to get adjusted, but they're just checked.
Just for clarification there, do you mean women who have been seeing you throughout their pregnancy, or okay, so you're not offering that to the wider community?
No, absolutely not. And I feel very strongly about that, and I would like to say that to your listeners. Do not give care for children for free. They are individuals, and they deserve the respect that you know what you're doing, and you should charge for it accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a similar policy where if a woman's been coming in pre-conception, conception, not during conception, pregnancy.
Oh, that's good.
Then I will offer a check to both the mum and the bub after the birth. And I think, your point is really strong about communicating effectively. It's a small check that is very highly skilled and has a huge impact on the mum, the bub, the relationship, and their way of orientating in the world. So it's a no-brainer, really. And so, I'd love to zoom out here and bring you to some thoughts on conversations you and I have had, and I'm not sure where we've gotten to with that, but if we zoom right out, you've done amazing things as a chiropractor with your community in Australia, with Switched On Kids, and with the Kids Summit, and raising funds for further research. And we've talked a little bit today about some of the struggles with the newer generation, with the community at large, seeing the importance of getting their kids checked. If we zoom right out, look at the global community and where we're heading to, and the future of humanity, and also this earth itself, what do you think, seeing this larger interconnected system, what's the way that we should go in terms of helping them next? Where is next for you?
That is a serious zoom out. I think that the zooming out is that there is such a large disconnect within people, between people, and into our earth, or to our planet at the moment. And I think that we are actually really, as chiropractors, are really well placed to create some connection again, from a physical point of view, but also from a connection. So it's that whole thing of connecting man the physical to man the spiritual. So using our visits and our interactions with people in the supermarket, and the people that at our favorite restaurant, but that we can start getting some more connection, some some interhuman connection, so people realize the importance of being with each other and that we are actually one of the same. We're individuals, but we're actually interconnected. Our spiritual vibration is interconnected, and we are connected to this earth. Now, if we say that, we're probably just going to scare them off. But if we just have that sort of openness and willingness to connect with people that we don't know, I think we can be much better at creating a bit more confidence in humanity and personal responsibility for our own connections to the planet and to people.
Wow, Dorte, I'm so inspired. Greater connection, greater depth of connection and compassion, so that people take more responsibility and create a better impact on this earth.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But
yeah, great. Well, what I'm really keen to hear is in which way will you move towards helping that come about?
I think from where I am right now, sitting right here, it is about feeding my own positive vibration to be able to carry. You know how when you're working, when you're moving with people you don't know, it is easy to sort of pull yourself in and keep yourself small, but actually to do more of an energetic, positive connection with other people. And I think I want to do that in my everyday, just wherever I go, supermarket, but also trying to increase my impact in speaking up at situations where I'm with mums, where I'm with people who might not know what I do and how I do it. So I guess just stepping out, but in a positive, non-confrontational way. A lot of it will be on an energetic point of contact, I think.
Yeah. And looking at your evolution, you started off saying your purpose is to make sure that more chiropractors are checking more kids on day one or as close as possible. And now you're talking about an energetic shift, which is a huge evolutionary step up. So I'm very, very excited to see your leaning into this, and also the impact that it does have, because those ripples are far greater and wider. Because they do sit at the vibrational frequency energetic level.
Well, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, excellent. I'll feel that energy. So last question.
Yes.
At Quest, our vision is to reconnect a myriad of people worldwide with chiropractic values, empowering them to continuously quest as they masterfully create the life of their dreams. Reflecting on this.
Can you do the movements for that?
That's Mark in his practice. So reflecting on this, would you say have you been going at creating the life of your dreams?
I think I pretty well nailed it.
Excellent. Beautiful.
The main thing I wanted to nail was a grandchild, and I've got that. So now life is complete.
Well, no, surely not.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. I
Up
don't
until this
plan
point.
on. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not planning on checking out anytime soon.
No, I couldn't imagine that. Beautiful, Dorte. Well, thank you for everything you do, and your continuous inspiration and change making in this profession, and for your own community, but also for all who we touch as chiropractors. It's hugely, hugely inspiring, motivating, and exciting. And thank you for your friendship and continuous way in which you touch me. It's just lovely.
Thank you for your lovely, kind words. And I really appreciate the opportunity to spend this time with you and share my silly thoughts.
We'll speak soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nimrod. Appreciate it.